and this is the UC3P.
Welcome to the University of Chicago Public Policy Podcasts. This is UC3P, our eponymously named podcast on policy, politics, and current affairs. My name is David Raban, and I'm the production manager for what we like to call the main page. Today, we're releasing 2 episodes. The later one is a substantive interview on COVID-19, where we talk with an epidemiologist. In this episode, though, we continue our special coverage of how Harris students are doing while sheltering in place. You'll hear from students who've left our neighborhood and returned home. Before we get into the interview, I'll repeat the last week's notes. First, we no longer have access to our studio, so bear with us as the next few episodes might have a lower sound quality than you're used to. And second, if you're listening to this episode and think you need a break from things related to the coronavirus, go back and listen to our spring break episode. It's a lighthearted interview on jazz music, and we think you'll enjoy it. Now, let's get straight into the interview. Without further ado, here's round 2 of Harris students on their lives while sheltering in place.
Hey, this is Aliya Bean.
I'm Yahan. I'm in Taipei now. I came back from Chicago last Saturday.
So I am in Needham, Massachusetts, which is a small suburb outside of Boston. It's where I'm from originally and where my family is. And I think I'm going to be staying here until things calm down.
Hi, my name is Arjun Motta.
My name is TJ Chatto, and I'm going to be answering some questions.
My name is Nelson Puc Cruz, and I'm in Lawrence, Kansas, a small college town that is now mostly empty.
So I'm at my aunt's house around Syracuse, New York. My parents live about an hour east of here, but because they're both physicians, and staying with my aunt instead, and every so often I see my parents. It's been a couple weeks though. I think it's probably a bit quieter than in most of the cities like Chicago or New York City.
So at the moment, I'm back in Chicago, but directly after finals, I went to Michigan with my wife because we had a planned vacation. We wanted to go up north, then we ended up just staying in Ann Arbor with her family.
Well, I've been staying at home mostly. Since everything is so empty, it's easy to go outside for a run.
The situation in Taiwan is under control, so I can go wherever I want after I finish my quarantine. I want to go see a movie and eat a lot.
Ann Arbor was very empty. Many of the college students were home or were quarantining, and this was before Michigan put shelter in place. And basically everything was closed except for essential businesses.
Because I need to be quarantined alone for 14 days, my family are not allowed to stay with me, so I will be home alone for 14 days. I'm bored every day because I have no one to talk to.
Something I've been doing more is getting on Twitter and Facebook, which is something I actually want to do less of. And it's been good to see some news articles or something posted on there, but it's also just, there's a lot of things that probably I don't want to be spending too much time looking on. Something that I've been doing less of, other than running, I don't go outside anymore. So that's something I have been doing less of, which includes going to restaurants, to church. Everything's pretty much closed.
You know, this is a little bit surprising, but I've been doing less of cooking. I think that's partially because I'm just staying at my aunt's instead of being alone in Chicago. I've definitely, because of that, been doing less of eating healthy. My family cooks way better food, way unhealthier food than I do at home.
I guess a nice part of this whole crazy crisis is realizing how many wonderful support networks I have all over this country. We're all trying to support one another through all of this.
Something new that I have found out about myself. I am a practicing Catholic, so not being able to attend weekly Mass was a bit more jarring than I thought it would be. The last time I missed Mass was actually in 7th grade. I grew up in a very small town in southern Illinois, and our priest has to travel 30 miles to get to our church, and he couldn't make it one Sunday because of snow. So that was the last time I missed Mass. So this has just been kind of strange. I've actually been streaming Mass because you can just stream most things these days.
So as a family, we're doing the best we can. I think it's been interesting because we're all adults now. My brother is 23 and I'm 26, and we've been living outside the house. So now to come back to where we grew up and have a very different dynamic, it's less like parents and kids and more like a group home with 4 individuals trying to live with one another. We have family dinner together every night. I tend to cook. During the day, everyone is kind of in their own space doing their work. We're balancing, it isn't without its occasional familial tensions and occasional yelling.
If I am with family, which I was with my wife's family. What have we been doing? So cooking has been something big. Spending time together, but doing our own thing. So what I mean by that is someone, like 2 of us might be reading a book, one of us might be playing a video game, the other person might be watching TV. We're all in the living room, but we're all kind of doing our own separate things. And then we watched John Wick 3, which is a fantastic action-adventure movie. Her family was quite mortified because it is very action-y, and I loved it. My wife, who is a pediatric resident, she's on an outpatient rotation, and so a lot of her work has been canceled, mostly due because if the kid's appointment that they were coming in for in the clinic isn't deemed essential, then they felt comfortable enough to push it back so that they can wait. So she's been also just here.
It's me, my brother, 3 cousins, and my cousin's girlfriend all here at my aunt's house. Each day, we split up into different rooms throughout the day to do our work. I'm in the basement, and everyone has jobs. They're in their own different rooms. We meet up for lunch around 1 p.m. each day, and then hang out in the evening.
Any piece of work that would be helpful to hear at this time?
Living with my girlfriend, and the thing that we're watching the most right now is Desperate Housewives, which something that would be good for watching during these times. That is, not actually Desperate Housewives, but something lighthearted. Something that's not very serious or very deep, or you don't have to keep up with. Just sit and watch it with someone you care.
If you have nothing to do during your quarantine, I recommend Sims 4. It's a boring game, but it's good if you want to kill time.
Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist is a TV series on NBC. It's basically, the premise is this girl develops a superpower to where she can hear people's thoughts, but it's through singing. It's absolutely goofy and it's as silly as it sounds, but it's very lighthearted. It's been an easy watch. You don't have to think too much on it when you watch it, and you feel pretty good afterwards. And then a video game I would recommend is Animal Crossing New Horizon for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I've never actually played an Animal Crossing game before, but I figured since I'm going to be home a lot, might as well try it out for the first time. And so this game is basically like a little simulation game. You get stranded. You're not stranded, but you're on an island, and you get to build your island. You get to literally build it from the ground up, like gather resources, building things, collecting stuff. It's very soothing.
I've been listening to the new Dua Lipa album. I think it's called Future Nostalgia. It's just really, really dancey and fun and a good time, and makes me super ready to, frankly, get a little too drunk on a Saturday night. But if you're looking for something a little bit more quiet or reflective, this album I've loved ever since it came out is Vampire Weekend's Modern Vampires of the City.
In terms of a quote, something that came to mind is, I'm a big Buffy fan. It's my favorite show, very core to who I am. And there's this one quote actually that really made me think about this moment. Bottom line is, even if you see them coming, you're not ready for the big moments. No one asks for their life to change, not really. But it does. So what are we, helpless? Puppets? Nah. The big moments are gonna come. You can't help that. It's what you do afterwards that count. That's when you find out who you are. And so I think what that makes me think of is, I've just been seeing so many people supporting one another, coming together in this time of crisis, and just seeing all the ways that people are helping from one another, from, sending medical supplies to people, helping people get groceries. I think there's so many ways that people are helping one another, and I think that's where we show who we really are. And I think hopefully we'll come out of this more of a community and really know how to help one another in times of crisis. So that's it. Bye.
And that's a wrap on another episode of UC3P. Credits go to Ning Wong for producing, engineering, interviewing, and co-editing this episode. Credits also go to Rachel Lee for co-editing. Special thanks again to all the students who spoke with us today. And again, we want to thank the Harris administration for helping us to get our equipment out of the building before the lockdown. Our assistant production managers are Arjun Motta, Olu Ogidan, Samia Karun, and Siddhant Wadera. Our finance director is Donovan Harvey. Our publisher is Ning Wong. Our intro music is Knockout 2 by Tutubi, and our outro music is Yes Yes Y'all by Matt Large. Our cover art was designed by Shirin Raban. If you want to hear more podcasts, check out our website, uc3p.org. And if you want to contact us, our email is theuc3p@gmail.com. And if you haven't already, please remember to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, whether that's iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or whatever. It really helps our podcasters, and we're not getting paid to do this. We just want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to hear the work. My name is David Raban, and stay tuned. You can listen now for our interview with Dr. Joshua Epstein, and you can listen next week for our interview with global health expert Anna Carroll.